What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're going to go ahead and talk Horizon 4 as I have scoured everything regarding Horizon 4, everything there is on the internet about this game. We're going to talk about it in this video, and we're going to give you basically everything you need to know about Horizon 4. Obviously, this game was announced last night. E3 has only just started, so we're probably going to get more information about this game, and I'm probably going to miss a few things here and there about Horizon 4. But what I do want to say is, if you do want to hear more about this game in the future as we learn more details, make sure to go ahead and stay subscribed to the channel. But a big bulk of the content which I'm going to be talking about, you might not already know. There's a lot of new features to talk about which I don't think anyone else has. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into this. Now, a lot of this comes from a IGN article, which I will link down in the description below. It's like 4 pages long, so a lot of it does come from that, and they give a lot of juicy information in that kind of 4-page spread. So again, I'll link it down in the description, but I'm going to kind of summarize everything they talked about in that, as well as a few other things here and there. So let's go ahead and talk about the map first. The map is like a heavy stylized version of Edinburgh, the Cotswolds, the Lake District, and North Scotland. The size is going to be the same as Forza Horizon 3, but the difference with this game is that obviously seasons are involved, and we're going to talk about what seasons are later. But essentially, seasons offers the same map, but both in the snow, in like springtime, in summertime, and in what's the other one I missed? Autumn time. How did I forget the seasons then? I'm retarded. So essentially what they've done is create 4 different worlds, if you think about it in that way. But the size is the same as Horizon 3, or maybe even possibly smaller, but from what I understand, they gave this quote, which said it's the same as Horizon 3. So give or take, it's pretty much the same. That's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. If the world has, you know, more things to do in it, and it's better, it's well made, then I don't really have a problem with that being a thing. So, you know, it's pretty cool to see that, you know, they have done it with the seasons as well, where there is 4 different worlds pretty much. It's not going to just randomly change from winter to spring. It's a weekly basis, and we're going to talk about that a bit later. One thing which I don't usually kind of talk about stuff, then kind of like the blabber and the filler of interviews, but they did say that this was very much a passion project for them. Most people at Playground Games are either hail from the UK or born in the UK or live there currently. For those that don't know, Playground Games are a British studio, and they really wanted to make sure that they did Britain right, obviously, from being here. And even Ralph Fulton, who is the creative director, I believe, for the Horizon series, he did say, like, it took him a bit of convincing to do the UK, because he's from the UK. Why would you want to do the UK when the last game was in Australia, and you had the opportunity to go to Australia and stuff? Like, that makes complete sense to me. But after a lot of convincing, obviously, a lot of people there know the area because they've lived there, and they decide to pull the trigger. And what I really appreciate is that it's not going to be doing London, it's not going to be doing the shit areas, basically. It's going to be doing the driving areas. You know, when you go on like road trips in the UK, chances are the Lake District, Scotland, Wales, you don't really go down south that often. It is the areas which are being presented in Horizon, which is really cool. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and talk about seasons now, because there's a lot to talk about with seasons. So seasons are like not dynamic in the sense that, you know, it's going to start snowing randomly in the game. That's not going to happen. Essentially, every week the game will change seasons. So one time it'll be winter, then you'll go into spring, and then you'll go into summer, and then you'll go into autumn, and it will loop. And that's how this is gonna work. So for one full week it will be snowy, then for one full week it will be like wintry, and like you get what I'm saying. With the new seasons comes new challenges, and new progression comes on a weekly basis with that, kind of naturally. So there's always going to be things to do in this game. That is what they've kind of said. They said earlier on, or later on in the article, that they've really tried to aim this for the Forza fan, the guy that plays the game after launch. And one thing they've kind of mentioned is that seasons is one of their ways that they're going to try to promote this idea of new challenges and new things always being available to the player. And this is a common theme. Stuff we're going to be talking about a bit later comes back to this point, and that's really cool to see that that is going to be a thing. For me, the one thing which Horizon 2 and Horizon 3 were lacking was post-endgame stuff. Like, the endgame stuff and progression as a whole was very, very bad in the last 2 games. It wasn't something which a lot of critics actually picked up on. To see they're improving upon that is only a good thing. Seasons is something which, you know, we're going to be mentioning here and there throughout this whole video, so I kind of wanted to get the kind of what the simple idea of what seasons is out of the way with. There was a lot of blabber in the IGN article talking about seasons. I don't think seasons is Horizon 4's coolest addition to the game. Stuff like buying houses and buying businesses is what I think is really, really cool, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's go ahead and talk about some of the more generic things. Some of you guys may have seen in the trailers, there's animals in the game, so you're going to see deers, you know, sheep, rabbits and stuff, and no, you can't run them over. A new temperature model was added to the game, so essentially, obviously with seasons now being a thing in the game, the roads are either going to be really hot in the summer or they're going to be really cold in the winter, and with that comes a new temperature model. So the way that, you know, obviously the rubber meets to the ground and the way the friction is going to, obviously it's going to be different. I mean, that's kind of natural. I kind of expect that. You're obviously not going to get as fast times in the winter as you would in the summer in a McLaren Senna at, like, on a road track. That's just not going to happen. And I kind of like that. I think it's going to be annoying for people that are trying to get times, because obviously you have to wait until the summertime to get the really good times in cars like the Senna. But that is going to be a thing. Again, the attention to detail is really cool in that. Hopefully we can kind of toggle the seasons whenever we want in quick race. That will be really cool, because then that kind of solves the problem I'm talking about a minute ago. And that's something they could add still, but you know, just wanted to mention that. We now have quick chat options with the D-pad. Some of you guys may have seen this in the E3 conference. You can now tell your friends that you are on Mixer during, you know, gameplay and stuff, which is really cool. And this brings us on to what, in my opinion, is like the biggest feature in the whole thing, which they didn't even mention, and that is Horizon Life. Horizon Life is an effort to kind of bring a real experience to Horizon. It's one of those things where, you know, you're in this game 365 days a year, and there's still things to do every single day. It's not a summer festival anymore. It's all year round. So what does this mean? Like, what does that mean? They said that in the interview, but like, well, what does it actually mean? It means 72-player servers with in real life players at all times. It means that everything is synchronized for all players at all times, so the weather is going to be the same. If you see a rainbow, your friend's going to see a rainbow. It means if it's raining in your game, your friend's going to be raining. That's really cool. It means that the seasons, obviously, you know, with all the season challenges, that's universal, and obviously the seasons change on a weekly basis, so it's that idea of having this shared world, which is like, it's for everyone. But the game is not always online. If you do want to play with drivatars and you don't want to play with 72 people in your game, you don't have to. The game isn't always online, which is really, really cool. You can still take photos in the game, and it's even better because you can take photos with others. You can still pause the game. You can still rewind, you know, for those that use the feature where you press Y and you rewind, you can do that and it doesn't affect others. And they even went as far as to say that you can't be griefed in Forza Horizon 4 in normal play. In normal campaign play, they said it is impossible for you to be grieved. And I'm going to read this off my screen here and put it up on the screen for you guys now. They said, imagine you're in the scenario. You're flying through a drift zone. You're about to nail your all-time high score. Then someone flies in from the side, plows you into the side of you and ruins your day. They said that this cannot happen. I don't know what anti-griefing measures they've put in, but it can't happen. I can only assume that if people are part of your group, then they won't be ghosted, and then obviously if people are in your group, it's different. But for those random people who aren't on your friends list and aren't in your group, they will be ghosted, and that can't happen to you. That is awesome. Anti-griefing stuff isn't stuff which like a lot of companies focus on, and it should be, because those are kind of the things which have plagued Forza specifically for a very, very long time. So to see that apparently it can't, I'm interested to see how that works, because it's one thing saying it, then actually having it in motion is a completely different thing. So I'm interested to see how that works. But there's still two more big things which kind of come under Horizon Life and Horizon Stories, which we'll talk about a bit later, and that's progression. They said that with Horizon 3, you know, with games usually it goes up, 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 and then the player count dips, and then it comes to Christmas and it goes back up again, and then it dips and it goes to the summer and it dips again slightly. With Horizon 3, they said that apparently people carried on playing that game long after launch, and it kept growing and it kept growing and it kept growing. Now I can only assume now it probably isn't the case, the game probably isn't still up on the incline, but they said in the opening months of that game it didn't have a dip. They then went to say they want to celebrate the players that really play Forza, to give them new stuff every hour, every day, every week, every month. And that is the specific quote they said in this article. So you have hourly content in the form of Forzathon Live. Think of Forzathon Live as kind of like free burn challenges from Burnout Paradise, if you've ever played that. It's very, very similar. So it's up to 12 players. It will say stuff like go ahead and, you know, take down a danger sign. You'll then be rewarded for this, and you can, you know, use your rewards at the Forzathon shop. They didn't really explain how that's going to work, what's going to be in the Forzathon shop, but that is going to be a thing. Again, progression, which has been so absent from the series ever since the first. To see stuff like this is absolutely awesome. Not only this, you are going to be rewarded for whatever you want to do, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be to the point where you're just being handed things. For example, in Horizons previously, you only really get rewarded for racing. This time round, if you're a tuner, if you're a photographer, if you're a painter, and even streamers who use Mixer, don't know why you'd want to use Mixer. They said that everyone will be rewarded. So all those people that I just mentioned will be rewarded. Depending on how many viewers you amass on Mixer, you'll get rewarded for that. I don't know how I feel about that. That's quite weird. But you know, the whole thing about, you know, being a tuner, being rewarded and progressing through the game for being a tuner, for being a photographer. I love taking photos in Forza. So doing something like that is really cool. And this idea of this kind of Horizon shared world even goes further with Horizon stories. Horizon is finally gonna get a story mode. Oh my god. It's been so long since we've seen a Horizon story mode. They didn't talk too much about this, but essentially they did say that you're going to be able to buy houses and businesses within the game. You know, you can take on roles as like being a stunt driver, or helping out with a car documentary shoot, or even buy a taxi firm and be rewarded for driving your stunted out car across the map. Really cool shit. Houses can be bought, so everything from, you know, little cottages to Edinburgh Castle. For those that don't know Edinburgh Castle, I'll put a picture of the house. How cool would it be if instead of having a festival garage, you had a house garage and you could walk around similar to Forza Vista? These are all things I could see being in the game. Obviously that's speculation, me saying that, but it doesn't make sense for them to add the next feature, which we're going to talk about, being avatar customization, unless you can walk around your house and walk around your actual garage. Avatar customization is in the game, and they said on launch they're going to have 500 different options or apparel choices you can make for your character, which are both going to work with the females and the males in the game. Again, it would be really cool if those were licensed. I think I'd really like to see that. But the one reason why I'm mentioning the houses and stuff is because they've said they've got 50 emotes for avatars alone, which again makes me think that you can look in your houses. It makes me think that, you know, we're going to have a PGR-esque garage. For those that don't know, a lot of the Playground Games staff have worked on PGR games in the past, and it all comes back to what I said right at the start, and that is that, like, this is a passion project. I get the sense that this is a passion project. I need to see gameplay of the houses and stuff, because honestly that's really compelling to me, and I hope that, you know, everything that is said on paper is how it's actually going to turn out in game, because this is beyond promising. I'm not going to compare this to any other game for now, because this is everything you need to know about this game, and I want to keep it very specific. But everything Horizon said right here is going to give the Crew 2 a run for its money. Do I necessarily think it's going to be better? Probably not. But let's hold judgment till we play the game first. As well as this, standard and ultimate editions are going to be available as usual. In the ultimate edition, you're going to get the Forza Horizon 4 car pass, a VIP membership, 2 expansions when they become available, 4 days early access, and without a doubt, one of the most, like, the most influential pre-order bonuses Forza has ever released, in my opinion, is the Formula Drift car pack. I hate DLC before launch. I think it is an awful way of doing things. But if you're going to try and convince me to pre-order your game, you know what? A Formula Drift car pack is probably a good way of doing that. So, Lord knows what we could see. We could see the GT40 458 in the game. That isn't even that far-fetched. We could see the Rocket Bunny BRZ that was in GT Sport. It's Dye's BRZ. We could see something like that in the game. Frederick Asbo's what is it? Is it a Corolla? All those types of things are things we could see in launch on the game, which is really cool. The game can be run at 4K 60, and if you have an Xbox One X, you have the option to play at 60 FPS, which is really cool. there's so much that they've announced with this, and this is only starting to kind of scrub the surface of what Horizon 4 is, and they really proved me wrong in many ways. I think that this is going to be awesome. I think that with Horizon going the way it's going, this is going to be a very good year for racing games. To have Horizon 4 and The Crew 2 hand in hand is going to be awesome, and I was talking to my friends last night about this. You know, The Crew 2 comes out later this month. Then we get an expansion for The Crew 2, a free open expansion called Enthoo Rush in September. Later on, a month after, we get Horizon 4. So you're probably getting a bit bored of Enthoo Rush now. Horizon 4 comes along, a completely fresh new game. That will take us up until Forza, The Crew 2's PvP, you know, update in December. And keep in mind, car packs are going to be available for both games every single month as I'm speaking about all this. So in the Crew's case, it's all free and it's all live service. But in Horizon, if you do get the car pass and stuff, you're still going to be getting all these car DLCs. And obviously, you're going to have the seasons being changed. And there's just so much content for us racing game people. This is going to be awesome. To have those two games in tandem is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to see where the channel goes, especially because there's just so much. Forza is back. Horizon's back. For me, Horizon's been on a slump ever since the first, and this is the first time I can confidently say they may have nailed it. They may have nailed it. I need to get my hands on it, but they may well have nailed Horizon again, and they may, I feel like that them maybe being acquired by Microsoft Studios, or maybe like the fact it's in Britain was the thing they needed to really like step them back up into upper gear, like they did with the first. With the first, there was a sense of hunger and desire to really make something great. With 2 and 3, I felt they were in cruise control and they weren't properly going for it. Now I feel like they're going for it. I feel like maybe it might be The Crew 2 giving them a bit of a kick up the arse and saying, you know what, we're here now. You actually have some competition. Maybe that might be a thing. Whatever it is, I don't care. All I know is Horizon's back, and it's coming October the 2nd, and 5 days early if you buy the Ultimate Edition. So that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this is everything you needed to know about Horizon 4. Like I said, I scoured the internet. I've been recording on my camera for 25 minutes, so I don't know what I'm going to condense this down to, but I really did do a lot of research about this. I never write scripts usually for my videos, but I just had to for this one because there was so much content to talk about. But anyway, subscribe for more Forza Horizon content. Click the bell because no one gets my videos nowadays for some reason, and I will see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe, and peace.